Commissioner Brissine. Commissioner Rubin.
Here.
Commissioner Eldridge. Commissioner Ellis. Commissioner Martinez.
Present.
Commissioner L. Smith. Commissioner France.
Present.
Director Peck.
Here.
Commissioner Fletcher. Commissioner Dustin Smith. Commissioner Lazar.
Present.
Commissioner Firstman.
Present.
Attorney Carpenter.
Present.
Director Wright.
Here.
Very good, thank you, Ricardo, much appreciated. So we have 8 out of 10 commissioners present today, so that does satisfy the quorum, so we'll go ahead and proceed with official business. Thanks everybody for being here. Those commissioners online, if you would please do mute yourself right now, do leave your video on to satisfy attendance rules. Let's go ahead and start with the approval of the previous meeting minutes. Those were provided to you via email before. Did anyone have any questions, comments, amendments to the previous meeting minutes? And for those of you online, if you do have any questions or comments or amendments, just give us a way or raise your hand somehow in the system. No questions, comments, amendments? All right, very good. Then the meeting minutes will be accepted as is. Thank you very much. Okay. Next item on the agenda, which again, everybody should have a copy of the agenda. If you're with us virtually, you guys should have received a copy of that via email as well. Citizen communication is up. I'm looking. I don't see anyone here for citizen communication. Director Couch, were you expecting anyone for citizen communication? Okay, none expected today. All right, very good. Then we will keep on going. So we're going to quickly move to the next item on the agenda, which is staff reports, and for that we will turn to Director Couch.
So our administration division doesn't have a report today. We'll start with our recreation division. Wanda?
Good afternoon. I'll start first with, we did send out this report to everyone, and I'll just go over, the highlights of the recreation division. We have the ATA Combo State Championship, October the 21st through the 23rd, starting at 8 o'clock a.m. So if you guys are not busy that weekend, come out and enjoy some great tennis at a resident tennis facility. Stevens Community Center, Stevens Community Center, Dunbar, and Southwest Community Centers will host the Lights On After School program, which will be held on October the 20th, Thursday, October the 20th, at each location, and they have various times. The Stevens Community Center time is 6 to 8. Southwest is 6 to 8. And Dunbar is 3 to 4. And this is a program where the latchkey program displays various talents doing the National Lights On After School program. Next up, also at those locations, Dunbar, Southwest, and Dunbar, Stevens, and Southwest, they'll have a trunk or treat event, which will be held on October the 31st. And the location will be announced later. We normally combine those, that event. The Western Community Center will be hosting, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone that came out on the 29th to the grand opening of the clinic. I was not able to be there, I was out sick, but it was a great event, and I'll just let Director Wright give a little bit more details in her report on the clinic grand opening. Also at the Western Community Center, they will have a Simmons Bank financial literacy on October the 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. Also coming up on the 22nd, there'll be another boxing day event from 7 to 11. And also, I'll let Director Wright also speak on the boxing event that was held at the end of last month in her report. Southwest Community Center, we hired a new recreation program senior. His name is Ray Kimbrough Jr., and he just started on Monday, October the 10th. So we're very excited to have Ray Kimbrough Jr. on board. He will be over our swimming pools and assisting with various programming and activities at the Southwest Community Center. Regarding the museum, I'm sure we'll get a report from Leland on our MacArthur Museum playground grand opening, so I'll let Leland talk about that portion. But also at regarding the military museum, the Art in the Face of War movie will be shown on October the 18th from 6:30 to 8. So if you're not busy, please come out and support that. And the movies are shown the third Tuesday of every month. Also, they have their 10th annual Arkansas Paranormal Expo at MacArthur on October the 29th and 30th. So for those who like to participate in Halloween activities and things like that, please come out and support. We have 2 other pop-ups coming up: Union Park on Saturday, October the 29th, and Rotary Creek Park Saturday, November the 5th. So please come out and support us in our efforts. And that concludes my report.
What time does the pop-up start?
11 o'clock.
Let's get these on the radio.
11 to 2 on pop-up. Any questions?
Questions from the commissioners? Any questions from commissioners online? No?
Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you for the report. So I'll move on to operations and cover operations until we have a deputy director for operations. Last week, we had a great week in terms of some major projects. We had a ribbon cutting for MacArthur, inclusive unlimited playground. It was a great turnout, and I was there over the weekend with my children, and there was a lot of people there, a lot of people saying how impressed they were. So we had a really good project completed there. Also, a new project coming out is our interstate roadway. I'm sure many of you have heard me talk about it for a long time, but we did have a successful bid, and we did I did present it to the board of directors last night, so it's on the agenda. And as long as it passes next week, we should be getting ready to get started on that project, which is going to be a great improvement for Interstate Park. Another smaller project, which I haven't mentioned, is we're doing a small sculpture project at Riverfront Park in our sculpture garden. It's the Daisy Bates sculpture project. Our staff is building it in-house. And if you haven't been down to the sculpture garden in some time, this is a good opportunity here in the next couple of weeks. We should be finishing it up, and it'd be a good time to go down and check it out. Again, it also shows how great our staff in-house can perform small projects and even large projects as well. Another project that our staff did in-house is our outdoor learning center at West Central Community Center. This is a new project for us there. It's a small structure with some cargo containers will be utilized for a green garden project starting the spring of 2023. Another ongoing, much larger project. Our staff's involved in this as well, but we've also have a contractor installing a playground at Western Hills. We did receive the legacy funding, which is another $600,000, so we'll be putting out a bid as soon as possible to build it's about a mile trail system there that will eventually leak into the Tri Creek Greenway trail system there. So anyway, Western Hills is finally starting to tick up and come to some, we'll see some completion at the end of this year and finish up next year, which has been needed for a long time. Another big event we had was Music in the Park and All Sub. We just finished that. Attendance was a little bit lower. We were competing with some other events, I believe, but it was last Thursday night, and it went very smoothly, and was appreciative of all of our staff for helping out with that. So that kind of wraps up operations for the last few weeks of the bigger projects that we're working on. Is there any questions from the commissioner?
Questions, anyone online? Questions for Director Couch?
I want to commend you for bringing forward the roadway for Interstate Park. I've always thought it was a shame that we let that sports complex fall into that kind of condition. And I've had numerous people reach out to me over the years wanting us to bring back a big softball tournament there. And once you get that roadway done, I think we're closer to that. And I would suggest again, I don't think I suggested it to you, but I know I suggested it in the past, that the double softball league needs to join the softball association, and that way they can be a part of a circuit and be more in line to have tournaments at Interstate Park. Back in the day, the Bush tournament was huge in Little Rock, and I know they would like to come back. They've come down to the board over the years and spoken about the improvements that they need to see in order for them to even consider it. But I think this will go a long way toward showing people that the city has interest in upgrading interstate softball complex. So thank you.
I appreciate that, and you're aware of the goal of the department to also work on our maintenance of the ball fields and improve that. There's another goal that I have there to accomplish that, and that takes a little bit of changes in our budget and whatnot, but we're also working with staff to look at other smaller maintenance items. There's smaller improvements that we can do through the duration of this larger project to bring Interstate back to kind of a bigger, better facility starting next year.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no other questions, I'll move on to JP for maintenance.
We're starting to make the transition from cutting grass into our fall maintenance cycles, which is mulching leaves. We have a new graffiti artist in residence at Hannah's Park we're battling with right now. About 3 days into, they're using a case of paint to paint the bathrooms, and we paint it over, and it's a battle of wills. So if you get complaints about that, we are working on it. We literally try to paint it within 24 hours, and he or she is coming back. So I know we've had I've been out there every day this week, and they've been working on that. We've got, overall, we're in pretty good shape. We're trying to, since the grass has quit growing, we're moving into areas that the little corners that we haven't cleaned this year, basically. So we're going to try to get all those touched up areas that when it's busy, we can't reach. So now we're coming back and catching those and going back and trying to get our areas some of the site areas. One of our goals this winter is all of our parking lots have grown up, they have grass in the cracks, they've been dirt in them. We're going to start, it's a visual impact when you pull in the park and you go to park your vehicle, or when you're walking in the entrance areas and dirt is washed over. We're going to start trying to clean those, and our goal is this winter. We're not going to slow down. There's not a slow time for maintenance. It's just we transition into different parts. Anybody has any questions?
Questions from the commissioners? No questions? Director Couch, any other reports? All right, very good. Thank you very much, everyone, staff. Much appreciate all your work. And I know that Directors Peck and Wright know this, and as does Director Couch and all the Little Rock staff, Parks and Rec staff. We have 63 parks in our system. So the work that these folks are doing day in and day out is monumental, and they certainly do deserve our respect and applause for that. So do keep that in mind. 63 parks is a lot. Okay, moving on to old business. Just quickly running through these, we were very glad to welcome in new Commissioner J.T. Firstall last month. JT's with us online today. JT, always, of course, glad to have you here. We heard from Jordan Mays last month, trail coordinator, and also from Michael Garrity about the marathon. Did anybody have any follow-up questions or comments about the old business from last month? Okay, moving on to new business then. We are glad to have a new commission member. Commissioner Ben France is here with us. Ben, thank you for being with us.
You're welcome.
Glad to have you on board. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Maybe give us 30, 45 seconds, 60 seconds about who you are, why you like parks, and
Yeah, be happy to. Is this on? Okay. Yeah, Ben France, thank you for having this and putting this together. I'm excited to be on the commission. Grew up in Little Rock. My wife grew up in Little Rock. We have one son. Prior to my current job, I spent 8 years in economic development. I worked for the state of the Arkansas Economic Development Commission, as well as the Little Rock Regional Chamber as a vice president of economic development. And I know how important when you're recruiting businesses, quality of life and parks are. So look forward to using my experiences to help grow the park and do whatever I can to bring more people to Little Rock and companies. So thank you so much. I'm excited.
thanks for being with us. Okay, very good. Moving on now to subcommittee reports. So first and foremost, social media and outreach. So that is Commissioner Martinez. Anything to report this month, Commissioner Martinez?
I do not have anything new. I believe that Commissioner Linda Smith and I have identified next steps of setting up another meeting to try to reconvene on Friends of the Park, and I will let her add anything to that she would like.
All right, very good. And then on the master plan committee, that is Commissioner Smith.
Mr. Chair?
I'm sorry.
Do you want to update the commission on the Friends group, and I believe that is now going to be worked through the Parks Conservancy at this point?
It is. Thank you, Counselor, for saying that. I was going to defer that to Commissioner Brasink when he talks about the Parks Conservancy here in just a few moments, if that's okay. But yeah, Commissioners Martinez and Smith, I know you guys were not able to be with us last month, but it was announced that the Friends program is going to be housed within the City Parks Conservancy. So we've got that moving on, and I'll defer to Commissioner Brasink here in just a minute. So let's go ahead first hear from Commissioner Smith about the master plan subcommittee. Any report there?
No report at this time. I am glad to see movement on Friends of the Park, and they will be moving over to the Conservancy. And we will start reconvening and focusing more on the master plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Smith. Appreciate you and Commissioner Martinez really jumping in and being chairs of these two committees. Please do, keep us up to date on your progress. I know that there's a lot of people interested in those two categories. So let's move on to Parks Conservancy. So that's going to be an update from Commissioner Brasink.
Thank you, Matt. So just kind of recapping from last month, we will be building out that program over the next several months, certainly with help from other commissioners. And also working on kind of a membership management, how we're going to work through that. So really still just laying the foundation of how the Conservancy will operate. But we're not reinventing the wheel, luckily. It's not brand new. So look for more updates coming as we get some more concrete things of what's going to be happening. But it will kind of be a two-pronged approach, one being fundraising and then one being just park engagement. So we'll definitely have more as we progress, and what we'll be asking of the commissioners to help with that. And then just as an example of what we're kind of working towards, there's currently an Eagle Scout project happening at Alsop Park North.
Commissioner Brasink, I don't know if you could hear me, but you cut out there just as you were starting the project. Go ahead.
Yes, So Eagle Scout project in North Alsop, and that's been kind of in conjunction with Parks and the Parks Conservancy. So that's just a good example of what the Conservancy we'll be doing is kind of outreach and engagement and kind of bringing to groups such as Eagle Scouts of what can be done, what needs to be done, and also the reverse of that, of those groups coming to the Conservancy and saying, we would like to do these certain things in these certain parks. So all that to recap, we've definitely got some work to do, but moving in the right direction.
All right, very good. Thank you, Commissioner Bersink. So any questions for Commissioners Martinez, Smith, or Bersink on their respective committees? No questions? All right, very good. Thank you, all three of you, for those updates. We'll be looking forward to hearing more from you in the coming months. Okay, moving on to the next item in the agenda. I'm going to turn this one over to Director Couch for an introduction.
So continuing with our staff presentation to keep the commissioners here at large just updated on what we're doing in our department. I have Michael Harris, who is the facility supervisor at Gym Daily Fitness Center, to give us an update and just kind of the mission and vision of the facility and the future of Gym Daily. Thank you, Michael.
Appreciate it, David. Like I said, my name is Michael Harris. I am the fitness center supervisor at Gym Daily. Been there for a little bit over a year. The whole thing I was trying to do is give Gym Daily some type of direction and vision. And what we came up with is this. The mission is we provide a regular, innovative, affordable, and universally accessible health and wellness programs and classes to the citizens and visitors of Little Rock, improving the lives of individual families and communities. Okay, our vision states as this: we shall be the premier inclusive fitness and aquatic center for the city of Little Rock, based on the excellence of our people and access to health and wellness programs. The thing I've noticed when I started working at Gym Daily was not having a variety of health and wellness classes and programs for families and young adults and youth. So my goal is to expand that and to make it accessible for anybody to come in the door and have that opportunity to have that opportunity to participate. You can go to our aquatic schedule programming. The thing that's done different there is that we have family swim, parent-child swim, things like that. So we're trying to make it accessible for anybody to come into the facility. In the past, that wasn't available, but now we're trying to make it accessible for all individuals to come in the door. In the near future, we're going to try to adopt a adaptive aquatics type of programming classes for adaptive participants. So hopefully by next year we'll have that going. The next page talks about our fitness schedule. Fitness schedule has a variety of classes and programs and things like that. When I first got there, I did a survey that talks about what they want to see. So they wanted to see more classes and things like that. So what I've done is provided more classes through the mornings and afternoons and evenings. So pretty much throughout the day, there is something going on with classes and stuff throughout the day. The next page talks about what's coming up for this month and for the next month. So we started new morning classes, training with Sturgis. Sturgis is one of our popular instructors. Everybody want to train with Sturgis. So what we did was we have trying to increase our morning participation. So we got a couple of classes with him that starts in the morning on Mondays and Fridays, and then on Mondays and Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and Mondays and Fridays. And then on the 28th, we're going to have like a pink out day. got the facility, everybody in pink, and gonna have punch and things like that, and some information and literature about breast cancer awareness and things like that. Also, later on that evening, we're gonna have like Boo at the Pool, so we're gonna have a family thing that evening. We're gonna show Adam's Family 2, that's doors open at 7. We're gonna have food, things like that. They're gonna have to take pictures in their costumes and stuff like that. And then on November the 12th, we're gonna have a triathlon for our participants. It's $25 per person, things like that. So they're gonna do a mile run, a mile bike, and a mile swim. So that's pretty much the thing that we got coming up. Also, we had a new Facebook page. I put the QR code on it at the end, so like the page, know what's going on, what we got, you know, daily stuff that we got going on at the facility and things like that.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Harris. Any questions from the commissioners for Mr. Harris? Hopefully you were able to follow along, and forgive me, I probably should have mentioned this before, with the PDF that was attached to the email that had all of the information that Mr. Harris covered here. So if you did not see that in your email, please go find that and do review that. There's a lot of really good information that Mr. Harris has already covered here. And like you just said, here's that QR code, so absolutely we can hop on that. Yes, sir.
I have a couple of questions, Michael. I think it's interesting if you would talk briefly just about your attendance.
Okay. Right now we have 1,971 active members that purchase monthly memberships. To me, that's a big increase from when I first got there. I think we had like 400, but you know, I'm assuming it's going to keep increasing due to the pandemic and things like that. We pretty much average over 10 to 15,000 a month on attendance. So I think the attendance is getting better by the months as it goes by.
So would you agree that your goal for the year is roughly 100,000 attendance for the facility?
Yes.
Okay.
The attendance is 100,000. My membership goal is 2,000, so I'm like 29 off for my goal.
And then just for the commissioners, I'd like to add a couple things as well that we've looked at for the facility. We're also focusing a lot on rentals for the outdoor pool for parties. I think that was a miss that we can really pick up on, and we're adding some things to be able to really focus on that bigger for next year. As well as we just added, or in the process, right, of adding fiber to the facility. We've for years have lacked with the technology to feed our machines there, to have, you know, the machines actually be able to feed internet to a quality that I think is needed. So that's another thing we're adding. And then our outdoor pool is also in disarray because of just age and maintenance. And so we're looking at right now some upgrades for that outdoor pool to make it more exciting for all users, as well as our indoor pool. We've lost some air quality control in there, and we're looking to make some improvements there. So anyway, Jim Daly's doing great. Michael, I appreciate your presentation. If there's not any last questions.
Any final questions for Mr. Harris here? No zombies at the Halloween party, right?
No.
No zombies. Got it. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time.
All right.
We will see you soon. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to the next item in the agenda. Let's see, update on projects. So I think we're going to go back over to Director Couch for some more words here.
Sure. So this is just something that's really important for the department. This is special in the fact that the Parks Department's not always sitting on capital funding to do new projects, and so really do appreciate our board directors here, and they might want to speak more on this. But I just wanted to kind of give the layout of the funding. And so there's two different big groups of funding here. It's the LRPR funding, so that's the American Rescue Plan Act funding. And we received, because of the board here again, over $6 million in funding. That's $1 million for our West Central Community Sports Complex, $2 million for our community centers at large, and then $3 million for seniors facility and improvements. So that alone is great for the department. Then outside of that, the city of Little Rock, the citizens voted for us to receive over $24 million in bond funding. And so I've gone out to the public for input. We'll be going out again in November sometime to give more input and talk about projects. But that's $24 million. The reason why I wanted to bring this up on the agenda today is that it's very important to get input from the park commissioners as well on, you know, the direction of where this funding is going to be utilized. Right now, staff is taking all the input from the citizens that everybody was requested to put in on the online survey on our website. We're calculating all that or putting all that together in a database. And so I'll have all that information. But if the park commissioners have anything as well, that's obviously important, and we'll continue to have this discussion as we move forward with these projects. So I just wanted to kind of recap where we are, where we'll be going over the next many years with this great funding. So.
Thank you, Director Couch, for those two very important points. Are there any questions or comments from the commissioners? Yes, ma'am.
I'm not a commissioner, but Leland, are you at liberty, or is it too early? And I think the answer is probably yes, it's too early, to share any specific or general projects that you might be considering after going out to the community to get input? That's not a fair question. Just say.
No. So I would just say, I mean, literally, we're still compiling all the information. So I have a lot of ideas. The public had a lot of great ideas, but until I'm able to sit down and really put all that together, I mean, there's going to be so many ideas and great projects, and I'm sure there's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars of stuff, and there's only going to be so much that we can do. So, but that's for the next meeting when we go out to the public. So I'll kind of keep that until November. I basically have roughly 3 weeks to kind of analyze all that information and put it together. So.
And just for clarity, that is $24 million. Is that correct?
That's $24 million for the bond, and so we'll be going. The city manager has discussed going out and 1, 2, or 3 different deliveries of funding, right? So because of the amount of funding, there's a total of $150 million roughly for the bond. That was across 6 different initiatives for the city of Little Rock. So because of that, you have to spend approximately 85% of that in the first 3 years. So it would be a great feat for the Parks Department, say, to try to spend $24 million in 3 years. Now, if we had a planned larger project, absolutely. But the goal here is to spend the majority of this money across the whole department on many different projects. So the goal would be to have, say, $5 million. It's an estimate for that first tranche of funding, and then we'll go forth and conquer that. But at the same time, we have the ARPA money, which is another $6 million that has to be spent immediately as well.
And this money would be available for the entire park system, so all 63 parks. Is it earmarked for just, say, new construction, or is it can be used for maintenance, upgrades, etc.?
Great question. So I know the city directors put in the language that it's not for a new basically. But that's hard to define in terms of. So we will be doing, say, a new parking lot or a new roof or a new paint, right? So the goal of the money is to renovate and upgrade our existing facilities.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I can go a little further than that. We, board, did not want to create any new parks because of the inventory that we currently have. We are struggling to maintain that. And so this money was to upgrade and hopefully get programming into those parks once we get them upgraded to the point where people are comfortable using them. So we just didn't want any new parks. Now, if somebody wants to adopt one, that's different. But that was the goal. And regarding the ARPA money, the Age for the Rock Commission expressed an interest in helping us decide what direction to go in, but I can tell you that they are very much interested in the Carolyn building, and they want to move with all due speed on that, but I want them to weigh in so that, because that's why they were established, to advise the board of directors on issues related to seniors. And since it'll be a part of the Parks Department, this commission needs to be aware that programming for our seniors and dedicated to our seniors is going to be a big priority. We are living in a city where our population is aging. We do have a lot of young folks, but all of our money pretty much has been focused on that. And I think our seniors have been neglected, and it's time to show them that they are important. And I think this goes a long way toward that.
Very good. Thank you, Director Ray. Any other questions or comments?
Very simple questions. ARPA money and code relief money?
Say that one more
Is it
time.
ARPA money, code relief?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Our money, what?
It's COVID related.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. Okay.
Leland, I have a question. This is Ken. Do you guys have a sheet or a cheat sheet or something where you're looking at that 24 million, you're looking at like percentages allocation between large community parks versus the, if you want to call them residential parks? Like, is there a way you guys try to split that historically versus going forward, or how does that, how do you all look at those projects?
Right, I appreciate the question. So initially, when I first went out to the public to give input, before we even really knew anything about kind of what the desire was, there was just for me to be able to start the conversation. I did say something like, you know, there'd be roughly, say, $5 million or a certain amount that goes to neighborhood parks, right? And then there'd be a certain amount that maybe went to some larger regional parks. And I kind of gave a little bit of a breakdown of the $24 million to initialize the conversation or the direction, right? But what we said along the whole time period was it's all based on public input. I mean, that's why we're doing this. And so, again, I think it's really important for us as a department to finalize what that input was, and then be able to come back and report out on what that input was. You know, I mean, realistically, if nobody talked about, say, neighborhood parks, then maybe we don't really need to be investing in neighborhood parks. And if everybody said we wanted to do a regional park improvement of some kind, then maybe that's what we really need to focus on. I just don't have that data yet, but that's what's really going to drive the data. And then also, I mean, obviously this commission has a large input in that as well. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you, Commissioner Fletcher. Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Fletcher, for that. And I think maybe perhaps to Director Paxton-Ryan's point, did I hear you say that you're expecting or you anticipate having that feedback for the next commission meeting in November, or is that going to be like after that? Not trying to put you on the spot, but you're
right. My goal would be able to report out. I think I could do that. That wasn't something that I thought of before you asked that question, but my goal is actually in-house is to have everything kind of wrapped up by November. So I think I could, with some understanding that it's a little rough and it hasn't been presented yet. But yeah, I think there'd be something that we could talk about at that meeting. So that could be the next agenda item as well.
okay. Very good. Any other questions?
One last question. I'm probably one of the random residents or very few residents who read the old master plan that got released like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And I was familiar with what you're talking about, the neighborhood versus regional versus, I forget the 3 or 4 designations and based on usual square footage or square acres.
Right.
Is that at all getting redefined by the master plan group in this commission, or is that the terminology we need to use? I mean, just so I can start wrapping my head around that and be helpful. Is that those classification parks? Is that what we're always using? Is that changing?
Okay, and I appreciate the question because that actually leads me into one statement I was going to make today, was that, so yes, our current master plan, which is our 2020 master plan, does state those definitions, and those would be what we would be working on. I actually brought 3 hard copies today with me. If anybody would like to take one, especially any of the new park commissioners would like to take it and read it, you're more than welcome to, as well as we're uploading that on our website so that people can have access to that. But our 2020 master plan would be what we would be referencing as we go forward with those kind of, terms or definitions or locations or the big picture for our planning efforts.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And then the only last thing was, a lot of the stuff that I focus on, like in our line of business, like some of the cost estimates were sort of spot on, and some of them were like so inflated, like you couldn't believe it. And then some of the earnings side of it would be like woefully under classified. Is there anybody looking through that from you guys end, or do you guys need help looking through sort of cost estimates from the past on the various different projects? Again, like, I'm looking at Tennessee's pickleball specifically, like for my line of business. But again, some of them are good, some of them are wildly off, and I don't know, if that's the crux for what you guys at the Parks and Rec department are sort of using for your crib sheet when you start getting feedback from people. If it's wildly off one way or the other, just however I can help. I just noticed that in that report when I read it a couple weeks ago.
Right, so I can, let me say this. So Ken, there's always opportunities to give feedback on cost estimates, and I think that might be what you're talking about a little bit. So when we initially look at input from the public, we would say, okay, a pickleball facility at this location might cost X. At a certain point, though, and that's when we can kind of narrow down those numbers to see what else we could do. But at a certain point, we'll definitely be also working through our procurement office and our City of Little Rock policies to put bids out for these projects. We'll professionally engineer them, then get bids, and then, that whole process. So at that point, it's really based, it's not a decision like, is that a good price or something? It's all based on our procurement and our rules and regulations for accepting pricing. But on the front end, absolutely, when we're looking at the big picture of, what maybe something would cost, or how can we decide what is more important versus another thing. So,
Is anybody having trouble understanding him? Because it sounds muffled, and I don't understand. I didn't understand half of what he said, and he said so much. I can't understand him. And shouldn't he be visible?
I have no data. I apologize on that. Texas, and I have a very bad
Mr.
data connection.
Commissioner Fletcher, if you would turn your video on, please.
Okay, I think, Director Wright, did you need to cover anything else there? No?
I just didn't understand what he said. I think what you didn't say as a response and assumed what he said, because I couldn't understand half of what that.
maybe we could just say, going forward, if a commissioner had a question, if they would turn their video on, that would be helpful as well.
If-
All right.
Yes, I'm sorry. Excuse me. If the commissioners are going to be held present for the meeting, they're going to have the video on at all times.
Great, thank you, Counselor.
He's blurred out. Maybe that's us.
And I'm not sure the video connection, it looks like you're blurred out. I don't know if that's something you can correct or not, but I do want to make sure that we're moving on here. So, Ken, thank you for your questions. First of all, I think Leland addressed those. Thank you for your answers, Director Couch. 1247, I do want to quickly get to a couple of other points, and then we'll yield the floor to Director Spack and Wright for a moment. The upcoming social event for Friday, October the 21st at 6 p.m. Hill Station. Just a reminder that is coming up. Director Couch and I were having a conversation around this a few moments ago. For all the commissioners that are here, all 8 commissioners and not trying to put anybody on the spot, is anybody, who's planning to attend versus not attend? We're just making sure that we've still got a good date there for the commissioners to get together, so. Is anybody, who's planning to attend? If you're planning to attend, maybe raise your hand. So I see Linda's got her hand raised.
Chair Bowie,
Yes.
we will need Commissioner Fletcher to turn his video on, and we need to be able to see and hear him.
Okay. Yep. All right. Commissioner Fletcher, please do turn your video on if you can. We need to be able to see you at all times. Back to, okay, so Robin, you're planning to attend. I saw Linda's planning to attend. Anybody else planning to attend? Is that,
Maybe, yeah.
maybe Ben?
Check with the wife.
Okay, that's a maybe. All right, so we've got 2 yeses and a maybe. Director Couch, I think I'll defer to you on how to handle this. Do we want to continue with that date or?
So if it's appropriate, Mrs. Carpenter, can we send an email out for an RSVP?
No, any type of a commission activity dealing with commission business is required to be conducted in a public meeting. We cannot have a meeting for email with RSVPs back and forth.
Okay.
That's what you're asking.
I'll just say this then, since we set the day and there's a handful of us that can make it, I'm hopeful that others can make it as well, and we'll hold that day. And we'll go forward. If you can't make it, it's understandable, and if you can, that's great. And look forward to having it. And then we can also look forward to scheduling another one maybe towards the end of the year or first of next. So thank you.
Okay, very good. So that's the reminder on the social event coming up. All right, very quickly.
It's not a meeting.
Correct, that's right. Social event.
Okay, and you can't do that by email, since it's not a commission meeting.
Yes, Director Wright, we had discussed this previously, Director Couch, you're going to send the media
Yes.
the notice of the time and place of the social event, because I think we were saying at the time that it is a social event dealing with the Parks Commission, but also Parks Commission business could be potentially discussed at the social event.
Not about me. If I go, I will discuss.
Very good. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Council, for that. Okay, agenda items for next meeting. I think Director Couch, you had a couple that you wanted to bring up here.
I just have one that I would like to add to the agenda, which is very important. I'll be bringing to the table some property zoning questions and projects to present to the board.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Property zoning will be added to the next meeting's agenda. Any other agenda items that we needed to add for next month's meeting? Okay, no other agenda items to be added. All right, here we go. 10 minutes. Directors Peck and Wright, the floor is yours. What feedback do you guys have for us today?
You can go first, but you better save me at least 3 minutes.
I got five things.
Talk fast.
First of all, Director Dean Pierce wants us to hold a formal dedication for this sculpture. He has requested it. It turned out to be $160,000 project, I believe 120 or 160, something like that, because she got an award of $60,000. But by the time they brought the crane in and all the welding and all the other pieces, it was well over $100,000. And we need to formally dedicate this. We need to get the plaque, the bronze piece, labeling it what it is. It's called Synergy, and I would like the commission to schedule a date for that and let the commission host the dedication. Is that possible?
It's a sculpture at West Central.
Yes, this is the sculpture. So you all have not been to West Central. This is the sculpture. And there's an article about it in the magazine, but he wants this formally dedicated, and I do too. It's just been so much going on. But he wanted it to do it the second Saturday in October, but we just had too much going on. And I had that big proximity thing going on to do it. So, I meant to look at my calendar. Is there a possibility that we could do this, maybe on the 29th or even November the 5th or something like that? Do we have to do it on the weekend, or what would be the best?
Let me suggest this, Director. If you can get us the information, or I can work with Director Imperius to get the information for the plaque.
Okay.
I'll have staff start the conversation with the maker of apply.
Okay,
And that will give us our time frame.
okay,
Want to make sure that we have apply, have it installed before we do it. And so then we can figure out a day from there.
okay. Now, the Simmons Bank workshop, I sent you all an email before, because he sent it to me this morning. I forwarded it about 11:30, so you may not have seen it. But what they were wanting to do was to offer a college savings account program. And initially, we had thought about it for the kids at the 21st Century After School program. However, those kids go to J Fair and they have access to that through the school. Now, I told them I would pitch this to Parks and maybe the commission if y'all want to weigh in. They want to know if we want to do it as a community center, just as a pilot, to see if this would be something, a unique type program a unique type benefit that we want to offer as to incentivize parents enrolling their kids in programs at West Central. They want to donate, Simmons wants to donate money to the savings account. I really don't know how this works, so I'm just putting it out there, but I did send you the information, so you can look at it and let me know you and your woman what y'all think. I need to let them know something because they want to go ahead and do the press release. I might just have to take that part out and let us massage it a little more and just go ahead and announce that we're doing a financial literacy.
All right, so on that one, Director, if we're requesting the Park Commission to weigh in, I think we need to actually have somebody or staff can give a presentation on exactly the details of what it is and see if the Park Commission wanted to be in part of that.
Okay. I will tell them to take that part out so we can move forward with the press release on the actual financial literacy workshop, because they want to also do a mini job fair with that. They're actually looking for workers, so they need to go ahead and get that out.
Well, I guess that's the question to the Park Commission. Would we be interested, would the commission be interested in somebody giving a presentation on that and seeing what that would maybe be a role for the Parks Department?
Okay, so then let's put the question to the commission. And are there any commissioners who? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't know if you want to have a motion to bring this to a formal vote or just asking formally. But Commissioner Fletcher's word, we have to be able to see him.
Well, put it like this. Let's just let you and her discuss it, and then we'll decide whether to bring it back next time. So I can move on to this. And thank you all for coming out. For those that did attend to the West Central Health Clinic, it was a big event, and I think they did Health Connections did an outstanding job. And one of the things that we wanted to bring out, and it was brought out to me from the community, believe it or not, as long as that sign was up there saying West Central Health Clinic, people were still saying they didn't know we were going to get a health clinic, even though that was up there for what, 4 or 5 months? So I think we need to make better use of the electronic sign at the top where the graphics are changing. And right now, it's just the same thing over and over. So that was brought out. And I did want to bring up briefly that I was approached by Topgolf, and they are interested in partnering to help West Central. And I'll be coming forward with that to help leverage some of the dollars that are coming in. That's all I have.
Look forward to talking about it.
Oh my God. Yeah, the boxing. We hosted the boxing team from Ireland. And on October 1st, thank you, Director Peck. She catered the reception. They were blown away. I got a message from the boxing coach and manager. Most of those boxers had never been on an airplane. And then he flew all the way and came to Little Rock. So they want to come back. They want to make this a big deal, and it was a historic event actually. And on the 22nd, we will be hosting boxing clubs from the Midwest, and it's called Southern Smoke. And Midwest, all the states in the Midwest, what are they? I don't know, whatever they are. They'll be coming here to West Central. So there'll be clubs coming, and they will be staying at the hotels, at Shackelford Crossings, and bringing community-based tourism dollars to those hotels and restaurants. That was my goal all along, to build up the hotels and restaurants, to make them.
3-minute warning.
I'm done.
Okay, I'll be quick. I'm going first next time, Doris. No, she has a lot. Couple of things. I've been getting a lot of, this is probably not the best forum to talk about this, car break-ins at Two Rivers and Big Dam Bridge. I made that mistake only once. I don't know what we can do, Leland. I don't know if I need to reach out to the LRPD, but I had some people sending pictures from just yesterday. So if you go down there, leave your car open so nobody, don't leave anything in it, take your keys, and just roll your windows down so they can get in there and look around. But just and I wanted to thank you for Kiwanis. Got a lot of staff that live near there. Thank you for resurrecting that park. The main thing I wanted to mention, because I think this is very pertinent, because it is at the gateway to one of our most popular parks, River Mountain, Two Rivers. There's a pretty controversial development. It's been deferred until December. I'm sure most of you heard of Vail Chevrolet right there as you drive across Cantrell, and there's about a 10-acre residential area now that they want to turn into Vail Chevrolet and some other offices right at River Mountain. Walton Heights has petition, over 2,500 people have already signed. I've gotten over 400 emails. Never had so much public outcry. I will tell you that it has zero chance at the board level, but I'm trying to not even get to the planning level. If you care about any of our parks, it's a public safety issue. We've invested a lot of money. We're putting bike lanes in at North Rocky Parham so cyclists or pedestrians can easily cross Cantrell to get to River Mountain. I mean, it's from a conservation perspective, light pollution, there are 1,000 reasons. But if you feel so inclined, send your ward director a letter, sign the petition. I'm all for infill development, but this is not a good development. Right across the street from that, there's another project on the southeast corner of Cantrell and Rodney Parham called The Middle. It will come before the board Tuesday. And again, I have concerns about traffic. It would be 4 or 5 restaurants with drive-through access, plus possibly a hotel that backs up to Pleasant Valley. Well, obviously Pleasant Valley's coming out in full force. Pleasant Forest, it's right across from Christ the King, the Montessori School. There's some real serious traffic problems, especially for pedestrians and cyclists. So if you feel so inclined, since this is at the gateway to one of our most popular parks, please weigh in with your city director, board director, or at-large directors. That's it. Victoria Doris, you've been left. You didn't listen to me.
I'm sorry.
I'm messing with you because it's easy.
All right, very good. Thank you, Director Pack, and thank you, Director Wright, for your feedback. Much appreciated as always. Ladies and gentlemen, that is almost done. We're almost done with our meeting here, so if you see our agenda, time and place for the next meeting is Wednesday, November the 9th. It will be held here at the Center at University Park. Please, for all commissioners, I certainly understand that there are certain circumstances where you're not able to attend in person. Please do try to attend in person if you're certainly here in Little Rock and you're able to. And I think that's it. Any other final? I think that's it. All right, very, very good. Thanks everybody for being here. Meeting adjourned 1:01 p.m. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.